Gold Coast kick a goal after the siren to upset the Tigers.
Geelong have a statement win over the Demons at GAPED Stadium.
And St Kilda go to sleep and let the Dockers do some business on them. Wait, that sounds weird. This is the DrewFooty Show.
Hey, long road, took a tumble down this black hole. Stuck in Sunday league, but I'm on levels with
Hello, you plonkers, and welcome back to the DrewFooty Show. We missed a week, but we're back, baby. We had a literal hangover from my 21st, and I couldn't muster up the courage to record an episode of the DrewFooty Show last week. But Jesse, how are we, buddy? Welcome back.
I'm good, man. You told everyone that you had COVID symptoms, and then people messaged me saying, "Oh my god, did you give Drewzy COVID?"
To be fair, I felt ill.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure you
I had
did.
a snotty nose and a sore throat, but it wasn't COVID.
Nothing to do with Saturday night's antics, I'm sure.
No, absolutely not. You had COVID, just like most other people on the planet at this point. How was your experience?
It was terrible for 3 days, and then I'd say the boredom got to me just as badly as the illness, but back in the community tomorrow, so watch out, everyone.
All right, speaking of boredom, we'll stop you there. If you want to send in questions, I asked for them very late tonight, so we haven't got many questions today for the DrewFooty Show, but go over to the DrewFooty _ Instagram account, follow that up. That's where we get the questions, topics, and blokes for the show. Now, let's get rolling.
Speaking of boredom, I'll stop you there.
Bloke of the week this week, Jesse. We're going over back to GAPED Stadium. The scenes were tense, and then they blew right wide open in the end of the game. And we've got
Bad
a
place
Geelong
to go camping.
What?
You said the scene was intense, and they blew wide open.
I was more referring to the GAPED Stadium factor. But anyway, after the game was blown wide open, Geelong fans knew they'd won. We've got this bloke here. Giving it this one. Does anyone have a name for this action? Let me know at home. But yeah, clear Bloke of the Week nomination. That come from Sam Smart, who nominated Bloke of the Week this week. Jesse, what do you reckon?
Yeah, no, it was good. Very sophisticated looking gentleman, obviously enjoying a game at Gape Stadium, so...
I don't know if anyone will find that funny except for me and you.
Yeah, that's alright. That's kind of how I do my content.
Do you have a name for this action, Jesse?
Yes, I believe in certain cultures it's called the Thunder.
Geelong bloke at GAPED Stadium, you are the bloke of the week. We're not moving away from GAPED Stadium as we discuss your winners of the week, Jesse. Roll us in. Obviously, you're going to say Geelong because they won this game. Go.
Yeah, it was a tough round, to be honest, for winners and losers having to pick some. I think we had some genuine contenders, but I think you have to nominate the team, in my opinion, who has just beaten the Premiership favourites and arguably become the Premiership favourites themselves in Geelong. They've had a hot streak of form. People are slowly starting to realise that they're actually pretty damn good. I don't think, maybe 2 months ago it was obvious. But as far as form teams of the comp go, there's not too many teams doing it better. And to get a psychological win over the Ds, it's a big plus.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, Jesse, I was humbled. When you get humbled, it's a bit of an experience where, it turned you into a better man. And I hope I'm on the trajectory to become a better man because I was hating on West Coast, just clear bias. And when I was speaking about the Geelong-Richmond game, I was like, yeah, well, Geelong blew a big lead. And everyone was like, who cares? Like, it was a sick game. But Geelong, I haven't given credit to much this season. I think they have a few points of difference compared to last year, where I thought they were just a bit slow, a bit old last year. Might be a bit controversial, probably not, but I think they've worked on it. So Sam de Koning down back just looks like the next Mark Blicavs sort of... Well, he's playing that Mark Blicavs role, which allows him to go into the ruck and play around the ball, which is very handy, but he just looks like he's already played 150 games. Tyson Stengel's been a massive pickup to provide that sort of small forward flair, which Geelong have sort of been lacking. And then you got guys like Maxi Holmes and Tom Atkins going into the middle who have provided a big difference in there as well. So they've just sort of reshuffled what they already had, added Tyson Stengel in, and all of a sudden they're on the top of the ladder and they're back tied on premiership points with the Ds, and Freo are up there as well. So I don't know how I found a way to get Freo into there, but we did, and Geelong are your winners of the week. Congratulations, Geelong. I owe you my respect. Who are your losers?
And again, a tough week for losers. There was a handful. I think it was just a pretty significant round in some senses. But I'm going to pick the Western Bulldogs. I don't think this is the first time I've had them as my loser. But I'm going to double down on them this week because it was just a really poor showing on Friday night to go to the SCG when, every game really counts from here. I suppose all games count. But Sydney aren't that much higher than them on the ladder, and the Dogs don't have margin for error this year in terms of making their way to the 8. So to go down by what was 60 or 70 points, maybe it was only 50 in the end, I can't remember.
53, I think it was.
53, it felt like more, to be honest. To go down and be that uncompetitive, I think, I reckon they're probably done for the season, to be honest. They don't look anywhere near it.
Yeah, I think so as well. I realised how bad of a side they were when I went and watched them play Geelong at Marvel when I was over in Melbourne a month or so ago. Like, their game style is just, too cute. They just try to build the play up just by, little handball chains and sort of working in a group to handball the ball up. And then, ultimately, when there's a turnover force, they're just so vulnerable at the back. That's their clear area of weakness is their backline. Like, their midfield is rock solid. They've got Norton up top, who's a real good forward, and obviously guys like Waitman and Bruce come back in. But their defense is clearly their weak point. So they're so easy to score from turnovers. And the way they build the ball up, I'm just not about it at all. And yeah, a 53-point loss just pretty much put a line through a very, very disappointing season for the Bulldogs, who have been extremely underwhelming this year. Even Bontempelli, I don't know if he's playing through injury or whatever it is, but he hasn't been as good as previous years as well. The whole team hasn't been playing too well, so it's a bit harsh to just nail him. But yeah, fair losers of the week. The Swans had 17 goals and 18 points, so it could have been a way bigger margin. You streamed this game, Jesse. How did that go for you?
Well, I was a bit crook when I did it, and halfway through the connection died, and I was like, I don't think I have a second half in me. And that's a reflection of how boring the game was as well, to be honest. So it was good to get back on the stream horse, as it were, but yeah, not a great Friday night spectacle.
And obviously, it was a massive win for the Swans. Friday night footy, 53-point win. Heaney doing a madness. The Swans just getting that transition play, which we've seen them utilise effectively all throughout the last 2 years, really. They've got it back into the full swing of things against the Dogs after a few lame losses in the last month as well. So it was a good win for the Swans. I'm going to get into my winners of the week, Jesse. I'm giving it to the Gold Coast Suns. It was one of those wins that I just think everyone except for Richmond fans was just so happy to see. It was like that Carmichael Hunt moment. God, how long ago was that? About 10 years ago when he kicked the goal after the siren. Same fixture. Noah Anderson goes back and kicks a goal after the siren. But I think it was such a significant win after the last 2 weeks that Gold Coast have had. So they narrowly lost to Port Adelaide in a real good game, going down by 2 points in that one. They lost to Collingwood last week by less than a goal as well. And then in that first half, it just looked like they were going to roll over and let Shai Bolton do trick shots on them. But they fought back. Matt Rao, the contested ball, showed why he was the number 1 pick. Tuke Miller, the captain. He is the captain, right? Definitely the captain.
I am 99% sure yes, but I don't want to say yes on camera.
Tuke Miller also had a massive performance out of the middle. And then they just clawed their way back into it. Ainsworth missed a shot from 10 metres out with a minute or so left. And I was like, bro, that's it. If you can't putt little 5-footers, you're not gonna win games of football. Then Chol just gets on the end of one out the back, and then Noah Anderson goes back, slots the goal, sends all of the 5,000 people at Metricon crazy on the week that Stewie Dew re-signed a contract. So it was just a massive win for the club. Probably the biggest win in the club's history. Probably, Jesse, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, the bar's pretty low. I think their first ever win over Port is probably my favourite, but I think there's a significance about this game because it really signifies them evolving to the next form of Pokemon. Because, obviously we've never seen a Gold Coast team this competitive late into a season, and Richmond are a good team. They're not necessarily premiership quality, but they're a good, solid team that nearly beat Geelong a few weeks ago. So, big feather in the cap of Gold Coast and Stewie Dew at the moment, and it's great to see him re-signed and rewarded.
I think so too. I think that's the right decision. I'll move on to my losers of the week, Jesse. I think I've potted this team more than any team in the history of the DrewFooty Show. I'm going to give my losers of the week to St Kilda, who lost to my boys on Saturday night at Marvel Stadium. The reason I'm giving them losers of the week was because the game was just there for not for the taking, but they were in a winnable position at half time. And then probably 15 minutes into the third quarter, the game was out of their grasp. They just let it go. Simple skill errors. They rely far too heavily on Max King up forward. Like 90% of their entries, I'd say, would just be big bombs into the forward line, hoping for Max King to take a contested mark against two key defenders. And yeah, they just turned the ball over stupidly. There was a few umpiring calls that went against them when the Saints fans were livid about that, as you are when umpiring calls go against you. But the game was going to go the Dockers' way regardless of the umpire calls. Umpire calls don't decide games of football. And it was just a really poor second half from the Saints, who showed glimpses in the first half that they could win the game. Jesse?
Yeah, I watched it. My personal take was probably being more impressed with the Fremantle win than being negative on St Kilda. Well, that's the end of that conversation.
No, please keep gassing up my team.
Oh no, it was just a really, really good win on St Kilda. I think I think the biggest negative of that game was not the fact that they lost to Fremantle, but obviously it's a really tight top 8 race, and the Saints now find themselves ninth. I think the last time I looked at the ladder. I think they're going to find it really hard to get back in now. I think they needed a pinch of win like that against Fremantle. But Fremantle are a very good team, clearly better. It was 4th versus 9th going into this game. So on the whole of it, like, hard to really bash St Kilda. They're just not up to Fremantle's level. But in the context of the season, it could be very costly.
Who was it that said, like, can St Kilda can Freo upset the Saints or something like that?
Yes.
Who was that?
7AFL put an Instagram post asking that right before the game, and that was an eyebrow raiser for me.
They must just be staring in the pot for clicks, eh? Like,
surely,
when it's 4th versus 9th, like, we're literally tied top at the moment. But I'm going to just quickly gas up Freo. That second half performance was great. It was like the Melbourne game pretty much again, like a poor first half. I was thinking after halftime, Freo have to come out and just play the best half of football we've played all year. Like, because St Kilda beat us on our home deck. We couldn't just, like, roll over and just give this game away to the Saints. Because I've firmly believed all year that Freo's best is better than St Kilda's best. And it's pretty disappointing that we didn't get to see the Saints' best in that second half. And it wasn't, like, a good contest for 4 quarters. We just rolled them over. But we just started getting on top in the middle. Brayshaw, another 3-vote game. Come out in that third quarter and just made, like, a few defensive efforts, a smother that led to a goal, just set the tone. Will Brodie has been such a good pickup, had 2 goals again, just a contested ball, and it was Nat Fyfe's best game back as well, 3 goals, 20 touches. It was just a great win to get away from home, and we're back at Marvel in 2 weeks to play Richmond as well. So after that loss to Carlton a couple of weeks ago, 3 Marvel away games in a row, so it's just good to get the confidence up on that ground. Come on, you Freos.
Yeah, I thought Fyfe was really good in particular. What do you have, like 3 goals and 20-odd touches? And then I didn't realise that you guys recruited Pauline Hanson, but she was playing in your forward line. She's taller than I realised as well.
Yeah, she plays on the right wing.
We're talking about Rory Love.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for the quick fire steamroll. Jesse, you have 30 seconds to answer as many short, sharp, quickfire steamroll questions as you can. Let's go. 3, 2. Brayshaw or Oliver more likely for the Brownlow?
Brayshaw.
Are the current top 8 teams locked?
Yeah.
Do you like cheeseburgers?
I do.
Can the Swans make a Freeland?
Yeah.
Is James Sicily an All-Australian fullback this year?
I haven't watched them closely enough. I'll say no.
Will North win another game this year?
Yes.
Has Uniacke announced himself as an A-grade midfielder?
Not yet. He's close.
Better YouTube channel, Drewzy or Jesse?
Drewzy.
Yes! All right, you got 8. I think I counted them up well then. 8 questions right. Oh, right. 8 questions right. 8 questions answered in the quick fire steamroll segment. Good job. Finishing off with who has a better YouTube channel out of me and you? And you said me.
Yeah, well, I upload more, but you have better content.
Yeah, an opposite land.
Yeah.
That is true. All right, cool. Let's get on to the other games then. Other games include Collingwood versus North, Saturday morning. I was watching the WA versus Allies game, as were you, and I checked the AFL game. Bloody North are beating Collingwood at the G, mate. I couldn't bloody believe it. Flicked on me KO, go over to watch the bloody game, and then North Melbourne just literally just couldn't kick a goal for the rest of the game, and Collingwood just slowly clawed their way back into it. They just don't know how to win North. I think the commentator said that, and that's exactly where I've stolen it from. But they just didn't know what they had to do until the end of the game to secure the win. And Collingwood there on a hot winning streak. I think they've won 7 in a row now. Just found a way to get it done. It wasn't cute. It was quite ugly, like a 2 out of 10, but they got the job done.
North, for the first time, were like controlling a game. Like, I think we've been criticising them a lot about, or at least I have, about, there's been no improvement. But that was a big step, that game. And I think, as much as they don't know how to win, I think Collingwood also had an oh shit moment, and at 3/4 time threw everything they had at North. It certainly came across that way, and Collingwood a good side. So they were a little unlucky.
But, like, as we've been saying about West Coast, it's just these little wins that you have in games, and that's what you start to build on. Like, it's not like the Brews are going to come out and have a 4-quarter effort next week and win against whoever they're playing against. So it's like, take the positives out of those little periods and then try to build on them, which we have seen with Essendon, who we will get onto soon. A real good game here, Jesse. Port versus GWS. It was a 55-point win for Port Adelaide. They've just left the top 8 race too late, haven't they? I mean, when you lose the first 5 of the season, it's pretty much done for them. But they have been playing good footy later on in the season. Quarter to quarter, they're a bit bipolar, but when they're on, they're really good. And a 55-point win today was solid. But again, what significance does it hold?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a competitive top 8 race as well. It's pretty deep. What at Port 12th? And they're not horrible, but I think there's just too many teams trying to fit in that 8th spot.
Like a GAPED stadium. We'll head over to Brisbane versus Essendon. Big ups to Essendon, who could have been the winners of the week this week. They beat Sydney last week. They've gone up to Brisbane. Those are 2 massive scalps for any side. And Essendon, who have been struggling this season, 2 massive wins. Peter Wright was massive. And when he plays well, Essendon generally win. He had 5 goals. But they've just started to buy in and understand their system a little bit more. I don't think the competitiveness hasn't been there for a while now. Probably the worst game was that Freo one, where they just sort of looked like headless chickens running around. But ever since then, they've just been competing without really understanding how to execute the style that Rutten wants to play. But now I think they've got a grasp of how they want to play. I don't know what that is because I don't watch Essendon closely enough. But to get 2 big wins against 2 competitive sides 2 weeks in a row, even though Brisbane were depleted, which probably is a massive factor in this game because they haven't been able to have any continuity week to week really. But it was a big win for Essendon, and I'm not negative anymore, Jesse.
No, I don't sell them short either. They also beat St Kilda 2 weeks before that. So they've won 3 of the last 4 against top 9 sides and only lost to the juggernauts in West Coast in that time as well. But no, there's been a clear improvement. They were very close to being my winners of the week, to be honest, because I think they can get something out of the rest of this year. Obviously, what are they, 4th last? Finals are off the cards, but they can improve and start buying into the game plan. I think there's a lot of upside for Essendon if they get their shit together this year.
100%. I was saying that on my 9 things. All you can do now, you're not going to play finals, but if you can just finish out the season really strong, that'll just hold the morale so high over the summer, over the preseason, and then you'll generate belief, and you could probably pop up into the top 8 again next year, potentially. Potentially, asterisks on that one. But yeah, it was a massive win today, and it was a good game of footy as well, so big ups to Essendon. The Hawks versus Crows, Battle of the Birds, real clash of the Titans. The Hawks beat the Crows, and it's no surprise because Hawks are definitely higher on the food chain than a Crow is. Do you agree?
You didn't watch this game, did you?
I did not.
I watched a bit, and I saw Mitch Lewis kick 5.5, and it was just another typical performance where Hawthorn, when they click, they look really, really good because, Adelaide's probably been more consistent this year. Hawthorn just had an on day and their best form is really good. We just haven't seen it enough this year.
West Coast versus Carlton. Didn't score in the first quarter. Didn't score in the last quarter. But the Blues were pretty good. They capitalised off the turnover massively. Like, they just moved the ball quick as soon as they forced the turnover. Just wait for a little error, skill error, maybe a bit of tackling pressure when the ball's in general play, and then go. Mackay kicked 5, Kerno kicked 5. Was a massive percentage booster for the Blues.
It was a funny game. Like, West Coast kicked 7 of their 8. West Coast kicked 7 of their 8 goals in one quarter. Really strange game. I think if there's anything we can sort of take solace from, it was the fact that I think we got Carlton pretty switched on today. Like, I don't think it wasn't like a sluggish performance from either side. Obviously, we were a bit slow to get going, but Carlton came to play, and even at 3/4 time, I think they really went for the jugular to improve their percentage. So for us, we probably played a quarter and a half of some good footy. In the second quarter, we were really good. But yeah, deflating loss, I guess, in general, but we'll just move on.
On to the tips. I'm a really good tipper, so listen here, because I'll get them all right this week. Western Bulldogs versus St Kilda at Marvel, Friday night. God, that stinks.
That stinks.
That just doesn't excite me.
It's not even that. It is that, but it's also like, who the hell's going to win that? They're both so up and down.
Yeah, I'm going to tip St Kilda. Like, they've showed better signs this year. I'm going to go to the Saints by a measly 17 points.
I have just changed my tip. I had St Kilda. I'm going to go with the Bulldogs. I don't know why. I've got a gut feeling right now. I think that the Bulldogs will win.
Adelaide versus Collingwood. This has some upset stank about it, I reckon.
Yeah.
You said a couple of weeks ago that Carlton and St Kilda had fart stank, and I was like, no way.
What does that
and then
mean?
St Kilda beat Carlton. You did say that.
Did I?
You did.
Doesn't sound like a phrase that I would use.
What, fart stank? That's in your day-to-day vocabulary.
I was going to say
mate.
those are two of my favourite words, but continue.
Collingwood versus Adelaide. Who have you got?
I agree there's upset stank, but I think Collingwood, you should tip Collingwood.
GWS versus Brisbane. Brisbane need to get a win violently very soon. I'm going to tip the Lions to beat GWS.
Yeah, you'd be brave not to, but we'll hang out and see the COVID outs and stuff like that. If there's a COVID cluster at the Brisbane Lions HQ, then that might change it.
Richmond to beat North Melbourne. Cool. Carlton versus Geelong. Probably one of the games of the round.
Yeah.
Oh, Geelong. You can't tip against Geelong right now.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to tip Carlton.
And that's why you're a better tipper than me, buddy.
Yeah, only this year.
Freo versus Sydney on Saturday night. That's going to be a fun game to attend.
Yeah.
Sydney will come all guns blazing. I'm going to tip Freo to get it done at home. We're a hard team to beat at Optus.
Yeah. I think there's upset potential, but that's just because they're two good sides. So I'll tip Fremantle.
Sunday morning, Hawthorn versus West Coast. You could probably win this if you wanted to, I reckon. I'm going to tip Hawthorn.
Of course you would. 91% of people think Hawthorn. I just got a feeling we're going to play well. I feel like we've had Hawthorn's measure in recent times at the G. I reckon we got this. Eagles.
Melbourne versus Port at TIO.
Definitely
Springs.
Melbourne, but there is potential for Port
it's a bit of
to
a weird
play
picture.
well. It's only because Melbourne are a little bit iffy. It's not because they're close in quality. So say Melbourne.
Should be Melbourne. And then this is a good game. Essendon versus Gold Coast. Essendon are in form. Gold Coast still in that finals hunt. This will be a good game.
It will be a good game.
I'm going to watch this with a close eye.
I've thought about it for about 30 seconds, and I think Essendon have a knack for beating up on Gold Coast, and therefore I will tip them, and their form is good. It's no disrespect to Gold Coast to say that Essendon, who just beat Brisbane, could beat them. I think Essendon wins.
I'm going to tip Essendon as well. Alrighty, there we go. There's another episode of the DrewFooty Show. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new. Jesse, we must move quickly. The Jedi are relentless.
The Republic will be reorganized into the new Galactic Empire.
I am the Senate. See you next time, guys.
See you guys.